All right. Good evening once again, everyone. I think we have to start. So before we continue, do we have any question from yesterday's class? Please, if you have any question from yesterday's class, please, you are free to ask before we proceed. Okay, so let me assume that everything went well, though it was just introduction. I don't think we did much that could actually call for too many questions. So just to recap for the next 3 minutes on what we did, the topic we looked at in that class. We actually looked at general introduction to Microsoft Excel after talking a little bit on data analytics. And we define Microsoft Excel as an office application software that provides us a very large workspace that can take over 1 million records per sheet. We also look at various ways on how to access it on your system once you have installed it. Talk about accessing it through the program manager. We also talk about accessing it through the icon that is on the user interface. And then we started looking at the various features that makes up a cell environment. Started identifying the features one after the other. If I can still remember, we talked about the application title bar, which display the name of the app, the name of your workbook, and the control buttons by our right-hand side. We talk about the status bar, where we can, for this status bar, that is, I think it should be standard toolbar. Yeah, standard toolbar, where I said we can program command shortcuts to avoid going through the long process. We also talk about the tabs and their sub properties, right? And then let me stay on the Excel environment so that I can be reflecting some of these parts. So like I was saying, we were trying to identify the various sections that makes up a cell environment. We describe the whole of this part, the first section, as the application title bar, which offers us the name of our workbook, the name of the program, and the control button. We talk about this section as well, which we refer to as the standard toolbar for programming often used command. We talk about this section, which is the tabs properties bar, where you can view the content of any selected tab. We also talk about the formula bar. Remember, I said the formula bar is actually divided into two two parts, the range parts and the cell content and the function display part. So tonight we are still on the Excel basic. We have not actually started data analytics properly. So what we are still looking at within these 2 days, yesterday and today, is just try to prepare us to understand the basic aspects of Excel we need to have learned or understood before diving into the advanced application for data analytics. So I will just quickly complete the last topic. I will just complete the Microsoft Excel Windows features identification. That was the last topic, and out of which we stopped here. So I want to start with the worksheets. How do we define the worksheets? So before the definition, I would like us to identify the section we are referring to as the worksheet. So the worksheet is the whole of this section, where you have this alphabetical label, A, B, C, D, and the numerical label, 1, 2, 3, where you have all these vertical spaces, the horizontal spaces, all these boxes. The whole of this section is referred to as the worksheet. Now, you will hear a Excel user using worksheets and workbooks, sometimes interchangeably, but they actually mean different things. The worksheet represents the individual workspace, just like we have it now, sheet 1. So if I click on the plus sign, I have added another word, sheet 2. If I click on the plus, I have also added another sheet. So the mathematical formula for differentiating or defining the difference between the worksheet and the workbook is that the worksheet is just a single word, sheet, while the combination of 2 or more sheets gives us a workbook. And that is the reason why here is titled what? Book 1. So under book 1, you can have several sheets holding different record or related record. So I just want us to understand. So in other words, we can define the worksheets, not the workbook now. We can define the worksheet as the electronic book of Excel that helps users to input and process values. Let me take it again for the sake of those that are making notes. I said the worksheet is the electronic workspace. Is the electronic workspace that allows users to input values and also process the value. So in our own case, since we are learning this for a purpose, which is data analytics, we can now define the worksheet as a framework that helps us to hold our data while we are drawing insight from them, while we are reprocessing the data for insight. So I need to get a response from one person just to know if you're actually hearing me. Can anybody just respond if we are following? Just one person. I just want to clarify.
We are following.
Okay, thank you. All right, so that is a worksheet. Now that we understand that the worksheet is the electronic workspace that allow you and I to input values, then we need to understand the types of value the worksheet is programmed to accept from you. So that takes us to another topic before we proceed. It's still under this, so you can just write it as data type. I need to clear this so that in case I use any of the term while collecting data, which is going to be our major focus tonight, you will not be confused. So let's look at data types in Excel. The word data type in programming generally, it means different kinds of information that you use in programming. So every programmer understands different type of data or different types of information he or she uses while programming. But let's bring it here. When we get to Python, we'll understand that better. But let's bring it to the level of Excel. So while in Excel, if we are talking about data type, we are talking about the kind of values that can be imputed on the worksheet that we just defined. Now, I told us yesterday that the worksheet is a powerful worksheet. It has functions stored in it. And I said we have over 450 functions, if not more than that, because I did that research 5 years ago. So I believe by now the number of the function will have increased. That is to tell us how powerful it is. But as powerful as it is not all kind of data it can accept. All right? So there are some information you impute on it, and then it will be rejected. And that is why I want to quickly discuss data types so that you have an idea of what kind of values you are permitted to impute and process within the worksheets. So number one is label. Number one data type that can be processed on the Excel worksheet is label. So when we say label, it's just our own tech grammar. Label means strings or tests. You can simply say label means what? Test. For example, that is why I can type Prosper. I can type Prosper. By the time I click elsewhere, it does not throw error, which means that what? It accepted it. So which means that tests or label are part of the kind of information or data that the worksheet is programmed to what? To process. So that is number one. Now, before we talk about the number two, there are rules that are attached to some of these type of data whenever you are handling them on the worksheet. For example, if you are handling the label, which is test, there is no law, there is no rule that says it must be capital letter before it can accept it, or it must be lowercase before it can accept it. Excel simply accept it in any form, whether it is lowercase or uppercase. So which means label does not have any rule. So let's talk about the next data type. The next data type or the next type of value a Excel worksheet can process is what we call numerical value or numerical data. All right, so I can summarize that as number. So number are numerical what? Entries on the worksheet. That is the reason why I can type 900 or 9,000 and click outside and no error is thrown, which means that what? It accepts what? Numbers. Now, there is no also rule that says that the number must be in this form or must be in that form. Now, this is where I'm actually going because I'm going to work with this aspect a lot in this section. Formula, that is the next data type. Formula. So what is formula? Formula are predefined data type that can regenerate a result, that can return a result or return a value. We refer to that as formula. Let me take it again. Formula are predefined data type that can return value. Why am I using the word predefined? Predefined. Now, what it means is that, let me just show us, if I press Alt and press F11. You see, this is the programming aspect of Excel that I spoke about yesterday. All right. So I actually train on VBA. VBA is what they use in modeling those automated systems you see for like supermarket and the rest. Now, what I did right now, I just switched from Excel to VBA section. So this is the background. Why I am showing you this, if I press Alt and F11 again, it takes me back to Excel. Now, why I show you that environment is to tell you that each time you type equals to and say sum, you see that Excel brings out this function. These functions that you are seeing here, we are programmed in that word environment I just showed us. So now I'm going back to why I use the term predefined, which means that any function you are going to use, so long it's not the query function that we are going to learn tonight, right? It has been pre-programmed. So that is why I say predefined. That is, because you are using sum, does not mean that you are just creating it. In fact, you are not creating the function. Those functions in the library, you are simply exploring them. You are simply what? Invoking them. You are not creating them from scratch. That is why I use the word that formula are predefined data type. All right. So now you understand how do we know the syntax of a formula. So when I am given a data and I see a formula, how do I recognize it? That will take us to formula syntax. Formula syntax. Now, the word syntax in programming generally means set of rules that govern how the code is written. So when we get to Python, we will understand all this better. Now, just to borrow it, though we are working with an application, not a programming language, but I am using this so that you can understand it easily and stylishly giving us a background of programming, because I know we will all advance to that aspect. So now, what is the syntax of a function? So I'm going to use a very simple query function. In other words, a function that can be used to task a cell to do something. Any function that you create to achieve, to task a cell to do something for you, we refer to that as query word function. We will learn more about it later on in this section. Now, for example, I have, let me just take off this. Let's say I have 800 here. And here I have something like, let me call this and then put the plus and then call this. Now, what you are seeing here is a function, or it is a formula rather, is a formula. What you are seeing here is a formula. So how do I know that it's a formula? A formula must have 3 types of data in it, and I'm going to explain them. And if one of them is absent, the formula will not react. For example, a formula must have an operator. A formula must have an operator. An operator are those signs, plus, minus, division sign, that we use in joining the argument in order to perform a calculation. So the plus here and the equal sign here, they represent operator. All right. So they are the one that will determine the reaction. They are the one that will determine particularly this plus, because this equals to is only indicating that this data type is a formula. But the one that we actually determine the reaction, the result is the plus between the F12 and the F13. So, but just to cap it up, the equal sign and the plus sign, they are referred to as operators. All right. And this operator, for example, the plus, they fall under what we described yesterday as arithmetic operator. Now, we have just specified or identified one of the data type in your formula. A formula must have a number. The number in the formula are 2 and 3. Sorry, 12 and 13. So any formula you construct, if it does not have operator, it does not have number, then you know that what? That formula is not complete. All right? So what are the rules of entering formula? You see, when I was talking about Libe, when I was talking about number, I said there are no rules. You can type them as you want. But once it comes to formula, the rule says that you must start with either equal sign or you start with what? Plus sign. Now, but I always advise my students not to go with plus sign. Now, the reason is that in mathematics, we were taught that when you have plus minus, that will give you what? Minus. When you have plus plus, that will give you plus. Now, what I'm trying to avoid here is that by the time you use plus, if I want to add this together, right, and I pick this, by the time you click here, and then you add the plus sign, and then you click here, it might affect the results, particularly if this second plus happen to be a minus. All right? So that is why I said, though it accepts it, but you shouldn't what? Use it. Instead, depend on what? Equal sign. Because the equal sign will not in any way affect the result. So I want to pause for the next 2 minutes and give room for question. If there's any aspect that I've explained that you want me to re-explain, please let me know. Question, just 2 minutes. There's no question, I move ahead.
Good
Okay,
evening.
so yeah, good evening.
My name is Sandra. I
Okay.
want you to throw more light on this query function. I didn't get it.
Yes, the query function, we are going to learn more of it in the today main topic. But what I'm talking about here is that I've not actually started talking about query function. I'm only using it to
Okay.
explain the formula, which is one of the data type. So I said the rules of entering formula is that you must start with the equal sign. So starting with the equal sign, send a message to a cell that this particular information is a formula, and also prepare a cell to get ready to perform a calculation. That is what it means. And then you cannot click on the cell with the values. You cannot click on the cell with the value you want to sum up. And then you bring in the next, you bring in your operator, which could be what? Plus, and then select the next value, and then you press enter. Well, you are going to get it better, but I just want to adjust to revise that so that to bring you up to stage. Now, let's proceed because we are still going to do more of it. I want to make sure that I get to that aspect. So I have explained the 3 types of data or value the worksheet can process from us. Remember that I mentioned 3 types of data that must be in your formula. The alphabet must be there, the number must be there, and operators must be there. Now, let's go back to the worksheet proper now. So let's look at the worksheet component. The worksheet component. Worksheet components. The worksheet component. Let's talk about that for a while because we need this as part of the basic knowledge we need. Now, when we say worksheet component, it means we are recognizing that the whole of that worksheet is not a single entity. It is made up of different what? Components. So we want to identify these components one after the other. So I am starting with the first one. All right, so sorry about that. So I was saying that the worksheet is made up of different parts, and having good knowledge of this part helps us a lot. So the first part we want to talk about is the column. I expect us to be noting, to be making our notes. Now, the second one is row. Let me list them first before we start picking them one after the other. The next one is cell pointer. And then the next one is grid lines. Right? So we have another one actually, which we can call the insertion pointer. Insertion pointer. So sorry, so I will change this to active cell. Sorry, active cell. Active cell. Now, all these are very important as a basic user that wants to migrate to the advanced need to know. Let's start taking them one after the other. The columns are the vertical spaces. The columns are the vertical spaces labeled with alphabet. The columns are the vertical spaces labeled with alphabet. The columns are the vertical spaces labeled with alphabet. So that definition only informs us how we can identify them. That definition did not tell us the main function. So I just wanted us to know, how do we recognize column? These are the column. A, vertically, that's column A. This is column B. This is column C. All right? Now, what exactly are the roles of these columns in data system development or in data collection? In data collection, the column rows are for generating field names. Now, there is difference between field and name. When you say field and field name, they are not the same. Field means attributes or heading. Field means attribute or heading. For example, if I want to create sales inventory, which is the practical we are going to focus on after explaining this. Now, for me to create sales inventory, I will need to enter headings, and each of these headings are going to be answering questions. For example, if I put serial number here, if I put serial number, sorry, please. So if I put serial number here, automatically you are telling me that the whole of this column is for tracking what? Numbers of what? Transaction. And then if I come here and put C name, which means what? Customer name. All right. So professionally in Excel, you advise not to abbreviate all the letters, all the words. You know, this serial number is common, but when it comes to this, you can abbreviate one and leave the other one, so that, because if I say CN, it can be what? Country Nigeria. So that is why I abbreviated only one, which means what? Customer name. So which means you have automatically labeled this column B, that is going to be responsible for tracking all the customer's name. Now, the point I am registering here is that the role of the column. The columns are for defining the data label or the data attributes or the data features. These are data analytic terms. All right. So now that is column. Remember the takeaway here, columns are the vertical spaces. That is how to identify them. And in terms of functionality, they are used to generate the headings. So that is settled. Now, how many columns do we have in a single sheet? We mentioned that even in yesterday's session. How many columns do we have in a single sheet? Which means that if I start counting A, B, C, how many of them do we have? We need to have an idea, because having an idea of the numbers of columns informs us on the total number of headings that can be generated in a data set. Because sometimes when you go for an interview, they will throw these questions on you. Somebody may not really come out straight. The way they will put it on you is that how many headings can be created in this sheet 1? So which means that if you know how many, the total number of columns, that is exactly the answer. All right. So that settled that. Now let's look at the next one, which is the rows. So we are still on the worksheet component. We are trying to understand them one after the other. Also define their responsibilities. The rows are the horizontal spaces. The rows are the horizontal spaces labeled with numbers. The rows are the horizontal spaces labeled with numbers. So what is the difference between row and column? Columns are labeled with alphabet, while rows are labeled with what? Numbers. Another difference is that columns define vertical spaces. Row define what? Horizontal spaces. Now, in terms of functionality, what do we do with the row when we start creating data? The rows are for creating records. The rows are for creating record. That is why professionally, if I am asked to define this, sorry, just a minute. Sorry. So if I am asked to define this professionally, this is field name. But if I put just name like this is what? Field. Why this is field name? Let me test your existing knowledge. Who can tell us the reason why I'm calling this field name and why I'm calling this just what? Field. Can anybody try? Just try. Who can try? If no ideas, so I can move on. Okay, so let me assume that. Okay, somebody want to try. Go ahead. Sharp. I think Miss Hannah want to say something.
I wanted to say no idea.
Okay, now the reason why we say this is field name, why this is field. If I ask you now, name of who? Let's use it. No descriptive, no concrete description. So it is very wrong when you are creating data system and you did not specify the field name. Instead, you are using what? Field. Because if I put name here, name can represent anything. But here, you have mentioned the name, the type of name, customer's name. That is why this one is called field name. Why this one is what? Field. So we are advised not to go this way. Instead, we go this way. I just want to take note of that because it's part of the skill you need to have under data engineering. So now that we understand the, going back to the row, like I said, help us to create record. How do we define record? professionally. Record simply means the collection of related what? Field names values. That is the definition of record. The collection of field name value. Let me prove it. Here I have one. This is the value serial number generated. Here I have maybe Prosper. This is the value customer name generated. Here, if I have quantity, then here, this is the value this one generated. The addition of this and this and this horizontally is called what? Record. Now, if we now go to data analytics 10, in data analytics, we refer to this, what we are calling record, as series, while the column as objects, right? So now we understand the role of column. We understand the role of what? The role of row. Now we understand the kind of space the column forms and the kind of space the rows form. Now, how many rows do we have in a single sheet? We mentioned this yesterday, while I'm trying to bring some of these things that we discussed yesterday in between because of somebody was having network issue. All right, so I'm trying to balance it off for her. Now, sorry, my lights is. All right, so I was talking about the numbers of rows in a single sheet, because when you go for an interview, what is the kind of question that can demand for you knowing the total numbers of rows in a single sheet? Question like, if, for example, federal government want to send you to a local government. Please, let me just sort out this, my lights shaking. All right, so if we are asked how many rows do we have in a single sheet? So we have 1,048,576 rows in a single sheet. So what it means is this. So here I am going to tell us one of the limitations of Excel, why you shouldn't stop learning data analytics at Excel, because there are so many limitations. For example, if we are given a single data, that is more than that number that I just called now, you are not expected to split some in sheet 1 and some in sheet 2. Because if you are performing your analysis on the record data in sheet 1, you might not be able to reach out to the one in sheet 2. And that is why Excel is only used for record or data within thousands. Even that 1 million plus, once you use it up, it will start slagging. So is only best used for record within thousands. All right. So now, how do we know? Because right now you can see only 1 toward 20. So how do I know? How do I check? So just click on one of the cell and then hold down the Control and Shift and press the press the down arrow button on your keyboard. Once you press down the Control and Shift, where you have the arrow button, press down the down one, you will see the last one. If you scroll up, this is where it stops. And if I want to go up the same way, hold down the Control and Shift and press the up arrow key. So that is how to move along the rows. All right, so that is for row. Now let's talk about the active cell. Active cell is this thicker box. You can see that all these boxes, they are actually called cells. But the difference between this one and other one is that this one is active, which tells us where our next input will appear. That is the message. So if I want to type under Prosper, I should know that I should take my active cell from where it is right now to that very place, and then before I type. So that is the function of the active cell. Now, the grid lines are the vertical. Remember, I think I need to add one more component, which is cells. The grid lines are the vertical and the horizontal lines that defines the space we refer to as column and what rows. So which means that you will agree with me that if we do not have this vertical line and this vertical line, there wouldn't have a space you are calling what? Column C. The same thing applicable to what? If I do not have this horizontal row, but horizontal line and this, there wouldn't have a space you are calling what? Row 4. And then, of course, if we do not have the vertical line crossing or bisecting the horizontal line, you will not have the cell, which are the units of buses, which directly holds value for us on the worksheet. Please, let me get a response if we are still following, at least from one person. I hope we are following.
We are following, sir.
All right. All right. So now
I have a question, please.
Okay.
Are the active lines for both the horizontal and the vertical? The grid lines, I mean.
Yes. Look at it here now. We have, yes, the grid lines are this vertical line, are the horizontal lines. They are called the grid lines. I hope it's clear. Okay. All right. So now let's talk about this grid line you are seeing, can actually be removed. So you can control them. Okay, somebody has question. Tunia has question. Okay. Please unmute and go ahead with your question.
Okay, so please, the question I have, you said in data analysis, the records are known as series. Why the rows are known as what? That's what I'm trying to
I said
remember.
if we are to use data analytics term, this title here, what we call heading, they are called objects, while the rows, which we call the record, they are called series. Is that what you are asking?
Series.
Yes.
Why the columns are called what?
Objects.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So now let's continue. Now, talking about the grid line can be controlled. You have access to controlling the grid line. All right. So what do I mean? If I don't want to see them for any reason, all I need is just to go to View tab. From View tab, this is where you can actually turn them off and turn them on. So it depends on you. All right. Now, even the label, this A, B, C, D, and 1, 2, 3, they are recognized as headings. You can use it to turn them off. Why are they called headings? These are vertical headings. These are horizontal headings. So you can turn them on and turn them off. All right. So let's bear that in mind, that we can control the grid lines. Now, the next one, Tunia is still raising up her hand. I don't know whether it's the previous one. So let's talk about the insertion pointer.
There's the previous one.
Okay. So we have insertion pointer. Which one is the insertion pointer? Look at this big plus, which is used to regulate the active cell. Right now, the active cell is here. So if I want the active cell to come here, I will first of all take the insertion pointer to where I want it to come and click. So you can see the way I am controlling the active cell using the insertion pointer. And then, of course, the buses that holds value are called the cells. So with this, because I'm actually targeting 1 hour to complete this interface explanation, and then the remaining 1 hour, we use it to learn how to engineer data, which will actually expose us to a lot of things. So just to explain the last aspect as part of Microsoft Excel environment that we are trying to understand before we start computing value. Now we have this section where you have sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3. The whole of that section is called the status bar. Now, why do we describe it as status bar? Because it enables us to know the status of our worksheet. What is the status of our workbook? The workbook has 3 sheets. That's the status. And then if you come to this section, you have the zooming meter here. You can actually control the way you view the item. Look at it. As I'm clicking on the plus, it's increasing the value. As I'm clicking on the minus, it's shrinking the page. And then we have layers here. This layer determines how you want to view your worksheet. So right now, by default, it's programmed on normal. So if for any reason I switch from normal to page layout, you see that it will give you the demarcation of one page and the other. So this is just like how Microsoft Word viewed it. Because that worksheet, you can see how wide, how large it is. You cannot expect everything to be in one A4. So what Excel will do is that once you set up your worksheet with A4, it will divide the whole of that workspace into segments of A4. If you choose A3, it will do the same. If you choose B4, it will do the same. So if I want to view the boundary of each page so that when I am working, I know where I stop. So when it crosses to the next one, I know that I'm actually crossing the boundary. That is when you come here. But when you are working, you are expected to stay on normal. Now, if I switch back to normal, I will show you how you always know where the first page stops. So if I come here, you can see this dotted line here. So this dotted line shows that if you are writing here, this is one page. Like once you exceed this, that record must have entered the next one. If I scroll down, you will see where it stopped. This is where it stopped. And once you are writing here, you have stepped into another page. So that is what Excel have done, dividing the whole of the spreadsheet into what segment of the paper size you select, probably under page layout. So if I choose, for example, A3, so you can see that it will divide it into segment of A3. If I choose A4, it will divide it into segments of A4. So we'll be going for a 7-minute break for you to refresh yourself. And then if you have questions, you ask. When we come back, we go into the main business. And the main business is going to be data engineering / formatting, and also including how to construct functions on your own to task Excel to do something for you, which are called Excel query function construction. So we'll look at that in the next 7 minutes. So you can be playing around what we have done so far within the same 7 minutes. So let me pause the recording. One of those few practical things we did, I hope we have practiced them. Are we all here now so that I can start the last? Okay. I didn't get that person completely.
We are here.
Okay. I'm also asking, have we tried practicing some of those things? Those few practical things we did. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So so we are going into the aspect of data collection / engineering / formatting and data query. So it's just like we are combining 3 topics, and that is the best way you can learn them. But all of them can be summarized as data collection techniques or data imputing or data input. So we just talk about different types of values Excel allows us to process within it. So I was actually explaining those things, preparing us for this topic now, data collection. So we want to start dealing with data entry. Now, let me also say this, that you see, some of us, we are in here for data analytics, but we can decide to become data entry personnel as far as the field of data science and data analytics is concerned. Everybody is not a data analyst, though you enroll and you are learning data analytics. Some of us, we end up becoming data analysts assistants. And what will be their job? Their job is to what? To perfect the data for them. So there are some persons that are addressed as data engineer. That is a field, data engineer. And a lot of companies are looking for these people. They are looking for these people. The only thing is that if you want to specialize in data engineering, then you will advance your knowledge from just Excel to what? VBA, so that you can create automated system. But why I said so many companies that do not have a data system, but they want to advance into data, they want to advance into analyzing their data. They want to start making data-driven decisions, but they have to start from collecting the data. So that is why you see so many companies, particularly in Nigeria, if you are going to be valued, you need to make sure that you understand even just Excel aspect of data collection techniques is very important, because these are people who formulate the structure, the containers that helps organization to what? To put data together before the service of a data analyst will be required. This is one of the reasons why our job is very flexible. It's very flexible. When some people are learning cybersecurity, sometimes I'll ask them, that have you made your diligent research before choosing? Some will prioritize that over data analysis. A lot of people don't know the opportunity wrap in this program. This program, if you finish it to Python, offers you 4 titles. Forget about the data analytics. What we are learning right now, what we are learning between yesterday and today, is enough for you to apply as a secretary in an organization or as a sales representative that we collect record for them on a daily basis. That's not necessarily going there as a data analyst. Knowledge of Python can offer you what? Programming knowledge. And then knowledge of SQL can make you to become a database administrator. So you can see the reason why the program has a way of betting different sub aspects that you can go into at the end of the training. That is, if you are good. If you are good. So like I was saying, the job of the data engineer, they are the one that will formulate data system structure. And that is the angle I'm going to come from tonight. Now, there are factors. Let me define data collection or data engineering. Data collection in Excel in particular is the process of designing a data system that can be used to receive values from users. Let me take it again. It's a process of designing data system that can be used to receive input or value from the users. That is a simple definition of data collection here. But when we now get to probably next weekend, I will not change the definition because I will be in a different class. I will be in data analytics class. This class is not his general Excel usage class, right? Now, because there we will define it as a process of gathering data from different sources. Because at that point, as data analyst, you assume that someone else must have created the system, and the system for a period of time must have helped the organization to assemble the data And now your work is just to request for it. And then you can now start performing your analysis. But as far as this training is concerned, it means developing data system from scratch. And this aspect earn you the following skills. We have data entry skills. We have data formatting skills. And then we have data organization skill. And then finally, we have data query skills. So this aspect I want to stay on for the next 1 hour or 15 minutes is going to offer us what? Those 4 to 5 different skills. And you need them for you to be able to flow very well. Sorry, please. So, like I was saying, you need all these skills. Now, let's look at what are the steps in data engineering. Steps in data engineering. If a boutique or a supermarket consults you after this class that we want you to develop a data system that can help us to track our daily transaction. Somebody drop a message. Let me check the message. Okay, can you hear me now? Somebody said that he was not hearing me. Was it now or before? Please let me confirm that. Can you all hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, all right,
We can
all right.
hear you now, but
All right.
before it
Okay, please,
was
when
off.
that happens next time, please just use the reaction because I may not really focus on the message section. Now, so I was talking about steps required for you to engineer data. If I was trying to use a practical scenario, let's say a supermarket approaching you as a professional data analyst, that they assume that you should also have knowledge of what data engineering. The first thing you find out is to identify the purpose of the data you want to engineer. Identify the purpose is the first step. And how are you going to identify the purpose? You ask them, what are the problems they are trying to solve? Definitely they will start narrating, because this is one job that I've done for so many companies. So what I do is I will tell them, okay, you know what? Just tell me what you want to achieve. How do you want to track your record? They will tell you, for example, we deal with 5 different products, and at the end of our daily sales, we should be able to differentiate their sales. We should be able to record customers that comes to buy them. We should be able to know how many quantity each customer would purchase. We should be able to know the dates of the transaction. We should be able to, as they keep telling you all this, you pick your Bible and be writing them. These are the problem you are going to develop that system to address. So every data system was bettered as a result of a problem someone was facing. So that is the first thing you must acknowledge. So once you acknowledge the purpose by knowing the problem, then that will also assist you to draft your field names. And once you are able to draft, because each of those field names, like we talked before, customer name, whatever, they are going to be gearing towards answering or providing solution to some of those listed problems. So tonight we are going to develop a data system that we can sell to supermarkets, boutique, an average business person, to help them to track their daily sales. And it is called sales inventory. It is called sales inventory. Now, inventory has 2 types, so that you know the one I'm going to focus on. Inventory has 2 types. The first type of inventory is what we call inventory for item to purchase, and inventory for item for sales. Now, just to break it down, inventory for item for sales, these are items you have already received from your vendor that are stock. So you are taking record of those items. All right. Now, but your sales inventory is the inventory of taking note of the outgoing item you have sold out to the what? To the customer. We refer the tracking of that information is called what? Sales inventory. So I am going to work with standard inventory. When I say standard, it means that I will not mind all the information. I will just work with what are expected to be there. So let's quickly dive into that now that we have been able to know the purpose. What is the purpose? We want to create a data system that can address issue of tracking transaction in a business setting or maybe supermarket. So what are the steps? Number one, what are the information you need to be able to develop this system? You need the company name. You need the company name. So you can be listing them as I am rolling them out because I want to be typing them and also be taking care of them at the same time. So the company name, I'm going to make it a graphical text so that it will look presentable. And how do we write a graphic text? Look at this text. Prosper. It's not a graphic text. This is a cell what? Normal text. So I need a design text for the company name so that my report will look very user-friendly. And how do we get a graphic text? You go to Insert. So once you get to Insert tab, sorry, I was timed out. Okay, somebody raised up a hand. Please, can I quickly address that?
The system you are using screen of
We couldn't hear you. We couldn't hear you. That was why.
Okay, maybe that was when I timed out. Even as she's speaking, I'm not hearing her clearly. But I was able to hear Fadilat. Well, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So now, I was talking about okay. Now I was talking about using a word data test just to make your data look user friendly. I say you go to Insert. So from Insert, you go to this text section. So once you expand it, you will see other option. You go to word data test. So word data test is just like a unit where you have different word art symbols. All these are like different creative tests that have been pre-programmed in Excel that you can choose. So which means that if I choose this one, my write-up is going to what? Take that form. So what do I want to write with this? We highlight it and write the company name, which is what? Digitech Zeal Hub. All right. Now, how do I carry it? You carry it from the borderline and then you move up. So I'm trying to see if I can centralize it. Let me take it up so that we can see it better. We are far from the top. So just click on it, touch this edge. It will keep what? Scrolling it for you. So let me remove the whole of this for now. I just want it to be at the top. Okay. Now, how do I modify? Remember, I told us that this process will expose us to what? Data formatting skill. Formatting means changing the appearance of your entry. For example, now, if I'm not okay with the color, how do I change it? You click on the text itself. After this, you go to text color. So I can come here and change the color. So let's say I'm using this. but it has line color. So how do I turn off that line color? So you come to, since it's a graphic text, we are supposed to use the shape formatting for us to be able to control it. So this is for the text color. This is for the outline. So I can come here and say what this. I can come here. So I've removed it. Then how do I reduce the size? How do I reduce the size? I will go back to my home tab. Currently is set at what? 54. So what I will do is to reduce it by using this text decrease. You can continue clicking on it. You can also use it to increase it. Now, I want the whole of this section, probably I want to silence all the grid lines. I don't want to see them. So I'll just come here and choose something like this just to silence all the grid line there, because I'm trying to show that the whole of this side is designed. So while you are doing this, you have to start saving because you have started creating something meaningful. You go to File, and then because you are saving for the very first time, you select Save As. You choose where you want to keep it. Let's say desktop, and then you give it what? A name. So let's say the name is Sales Inventory. Sales Inventory. Let's say that is the name, and then I click on what? Okay, that name is already existing. So let me just save it at Sales Inventory. Oops. Sales Inventory March. And then I click. So now once you have saved it, the next information we need is the company address. The next information we need is the company address. All right. Now, somebody is raising up hand. Let me know if it's...
Yes, Mr. Prosper. It's me. Please, how did you collapse the grid lines again? This thing just was seized when you were doing that.
Okay, which of the grid line? Is it the one here?
Yes, the one on the where the Digitech is.
Okay, so what I did was that I highlighted the whole of it like this. And then I used this color painter. And then I choose this color. I don't want it to be too obvious. So that is what I did. I hope it's clear now.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. So now I want the next information. So you can be writing down the information required to design a sales inventory. The first one is the company name, and that is what we have already typed. So the second one is the company address. Supposing the company have branches, when you forward your inventory, they should be able to know where it's coming from. That is why the address is necessary. So the address, I will still use word art to write it. I still want it to be a design test. So I'll go back to my insert. This is the second time we are going there. Go to where you have test section, and then click on the word art again, and then choose any of the symbol. And then the address, let's say what? Asaba Delta States. Asaba Delta State. So, which means that now you must make sure that you create hierarchy when you are entering your data. What do I mean? Someone should be able to know between this test and this test, which one should be more prioritized. So definitely the name of the company should be bigger than the address. So for that reason, I'll go again. How do I reduce the size? You go back to home, and then you click on this, or you can just drop down this and pick a value at once. So I'm coming down to this. I can just enhance the boldness. So you can say that I'm making sure that I'm calculating my colors very well to make sure that I have a good user-friendly sales inventory. All right? So the next information you need, the next info you need is to specify the accounting period. All right? So the company needs to know sales inventory are usually monthly based. After 1 month, then it expires. It can only be a reference data. And then each month you open what? This inventory. So it's a monthly accounting structure. So which means I'll go back again to specify that, go back again, you can see I am retouching all this. So I don't expect we have issue because I'm repeating most of this command. So I will say this is what reports just to indicate the month and the year. I will say, okay, let me say March, let's say March 2026. So I can just put it this way. And then I will also ensure that it's not also far from other tests. So I will reduce it, and then I'll put it here. All right, so I can increase it a little, and then since it's just these three information I want to put there, so click here, put this one here. So now I am saving. Now the next information is the logo. The company can ask you to attach their logo here. So if you don't have the logo in soft copy, then you have to design it, or you ask them for the logo. And once they give you the logo, then you copy it to your system, just like I have mine now. So I will just how do you now bring it here? You go to insert. From insert, you select picture. From picture, you select where you want to bring the logo from. If it is within your PC, you choose this. If you want to get it from online, you can as well download it directly from the internet. Right? So let me get it from here, and then to ask me to locate where the logo is. So let me quickly go to where I have the logo. Because what we are programming now is just like you are creating it for a company. They have sorry, I think please confirm if you can hear me. Please confirm if you can hear me. Let me see. Can anybody hear me? Confirm if you can hear me. I don't think you can hear me yet. Can you hear me? Confirm if you can hear me, please.
I can hear you. I can.
Okay. Okay. Somebody say something. Okay, so if you can hear me. So we are looking at how to add the logo. So I have the logo here. So let me say, let's assume this is your logo, and then you click on insert, and then you have the logo added. So what will happen is I will give us 5 minutes to get to this place. Let's try, for those that are joining with their system, let's try and put this header together. So if you have done it, or maybe you are following me, then you also let me know so that I can move on. But I want to give us 5 minutes so that we can try. Let's design our data heading. So I would like to check your screen. Who is working with with her laptop? So that I can see what you have done so far. Or if you are about starting, fine. 5 minutes. Okay. Mrs. Hannah, you want to show us? Okay, so can you share, send a share request. Let me permit you so we can see. Others, please, 5 minutes, start doing something like this. Okay, so let's go to Mrs. Hannah's screen right now and to see what she have done.
Yeah? Okay.
I think it's coming up now. I've already allowed you to share. It should be coming up. You can go and click on share now.
Okay.
So others, we should be working. I may also request to see your screen. Please, as we are getting to the practical aspect, it will no longer be just teaching at stretch. So point, I'll stop and come and check what you have done. Okay, so she's doing something. Okay, so just continue. Do I have any other person who is working who can share her screen or his screen? Fire tablets. I have not heard from you since. I hope all is well with you over there. Are you working? Mrs. Sandra, where is it? Are you working? Ahmed, are you working? Okay, I think I'm coming to Fadila's screen now. Okay, I'm coming to Fadila's screen now. Okay. For the yes to show properly, but it's still loading. Mrs. Tunia, I hope you are also okay. Good. I can see that we're actually doing something. Okay. Tunia, I hope you are doing something as well. Please, I want everybody to be doing something. Please, it's very important. It is not healthy that you plan to do everything after the class. Sometimes it can choke you. Mrs. Sandra, where is it? You want to say something? You have your... Okay, so can we come to your... Sorry, I can't hear you. Somebody is trying to say something. All right, so let me still give 2 minutes. At least I've confirmed for a few persons that you are doing something. The rest, please make sure that you are also doing something. It's very important. I want to hear from Fire Tablet and Mrs. Sandra.
Yeah, the Fire Tablet. Sorry, the thing is, good evening. I've not been able to install my Excel since yesterday, but I've been able to.
Okay.
So probably by Monday, I'll be able to get my Excel
Okay, so which means that
installed.
when you get it fixed, make sure that you do all this work down and ready to submit them in
Yeah,
the next class.
yeah, I'll
Okay,
submit it by
okay.
year by.
So
Yeah,
let
thank you.
me hear from Tunia. Fadilat, you want to say something? Okay, so the 5 minutes I gave as a lapse, we have 20 minutes to go. Let's go back to at least you have started doing something. So if you are fast, you can work alongside with me. So let's quickly proceed. Now that we have put the data header together, the next thing we want to do is to generate the field names. To generate the field names. That is where the work is. The whole of this is called metadata, M-E-T-A, metadata. They are just for describing the kind of data system you are developing. All right? So if somebody comes in here and, oh, this is sales report, that is what you have done. Now, the main data body itself, you start with defining the headers, which are the primary role of the word, the columns. And then you start it here. You come to this side, you don't at the middle, you trace it here. I can decide to leave it, I start here. Now, definitely, I can no longer work with the number. So which means that I have to generate another serial number. And then I'll give it the title serial number. Or I'll give it a title ID. All right, so any of these can go with it. Now, when you are creating your data system, you can you label all the headers first before you start collecting record. Not labeling this, then you collect its record. No, the standard way is that outline all the headers first. so that you can have focus on the kind of information you are going to be collecting. Now, and as I'm creating these headers, I am mindful of the problem I am trying to solve. Remember, the company says that they want to be able to track their sales inventory. All right. I am using just this one to teach us. What about tomorrow if a school call you and say develop a school fees collection system? So once you know the concept, you find out what they want to capture. The student name. Once you have an idea of the problem, you will definitely know the field that will be involved. And that is the reasoning pattern I am going through right now. So now this one is answering one of the questions. This one is going to provide solution to one of the challenges they are facing. And what is the challenge? At the end of every day, they want to know how many transactions. Good. That is what this will provide. I have already used that field name to tackle that. And they also say that they want to track the customer details and the product detail, because that is what sales inventory is made up of. Is of two aspects, two segments: the customer detail and the product detail. All right. So the best thing to do is to separate them. Let me focus on the customer detail before the product detail. So under the customer detail, I need dates of the transaction, the date, and then I need the customer's name. So I can say the customer has special ID, customer what? ID. Outside their name, the customers are given what? Special code. Some company adopt this as well. So I can say customer name. Then I'm still looking at the solution I'm providing based on the narration. So, okay, customer name. They would like to know at the end of the year the statistical what data of the number of female and what male that patronize them. Okay, let's put what? Gender. You can see the way I am bringing these headings now. I'm picturing a challenge, and that is what is enabling me to what? To know the header. And each of these header, they are providing solution. All right. So the next one is that, okay, they would like to know the states these customers are coming from. Okay, country. Let's look at country. They would like to know the country these customers are coming from. So where you have issue of not having enough space, you trace it up and either adjust it manually or you just double click on it. Okay, they would like to know the states they are coming from. So I just want to make it basic. We can go on and on. Some will say they want to collect their phone number. They want to collect whatever. So, but now I just want to take this as the customer details. Now, the whole of this section that is capturing the customer detail, we also analyze it with a different format. All right, because we are collecting as data analysts, doing the work of data entry personnel. So I will highlight the whole of this section with maybe a color that still go. Now, this color that I use has each property in this. So it's not totally off from this, right? Now, what I'm using this to indicate is the customer details. Now, you can even try to be professional by collapsing the whole of this section like this. You come and say what? Merge and label it what? Customers details. All right, then you can just label it like that, just for analyzing purpose. Now, the whole of this section from here is for the product. Now, under the product, I will start with what? Product ID. Then the product name, and then followed by, after the product name, I would like to capture the quantity, how many of it the person is buying. That is QTY. Then at the rate of how much, because this is sales inventory. If it is purchase inventory, I'll be using costs. But because it says, I'll be using price. All right. So I will say what? Rates. That is per one. Then followed by total price. So I will just put what? Total there. If I like, I put price. Then the company might be giving out a discount. So you put what? Discounts. And that discount, you can specify the percentage immediately. You put it in bracket. You say, okay, they are going to be giving 20% discount. Now, you can see that here, this is touching this line. So I'll trace it up and what? Double click. Control S as you are working. Now, after discount, there should be actual price, because discount means that whatever amount they are entitled to be deducted as discount will be removed from the total. So I'll put what? Actual price. Actual what? Price here. Now, if you are VATing them or taxing them, you put it there, VAT. All these are optional. You ask the company you are creating this for. Anyone that is not involved, you silence it. And then immediately I'll specify what? The percentage of the VAT. Let's say 7.5%. All right. So where I notice is touching the line, I trace it up, I double click to have some space there. Control S. So I'm still going. Now, after the VAT, it means that when they are paying, so after the VAT, I think the next one I should have is deposit. Now, why I'm involving deposit, it is because of the type of business I'm running. The whole type of business we have in the world can be categorized into two. It's either cash and carry, that is where you pay full, or accrual. Accrual is the one that you allow instrumental payment. So deposit, you specify that deposit percentage immediately. Let's say they are to pay 50%. So while I am tagging this percentage, they are going to influence the formula construction. So now the next one, like here now, I have to trace it up here, double click here, so that it will adjust it. You are pressing Ctrl S to update your entry. All right. Now, the next one is that after the deposit, then there should be balance, because they are not paying all. There should be balance. So, let me say I'm stopping at what? Balance. Now, the whole of this product information, where it started from, I will highlight it. Where it started from, and then give it a different background color, a color that is not different from. This color is here, and you can trace it to this. So the color calculation is okay. Now, after this, the next thing we are going to do now is to start generating the record. So you can see the order is actually informing us. Now that we have an idea of the header, now we can now easily generate the record. Now, generating the record, you generate it like this. Now you put one here, you come here. Finish the one here, except if this is normally what we are creating now, the record input will be determined by the transaction. When somebody comes, the order at which they are coming will determine the order of what? Sending them into your data system. So now here is serial number. So I'll put 1. Now, remember that we can no longer depend on these serial numbers. So which means that we have to restart our numbering. And how do you do it? So that you don't do this like this. When you get here, you now type 2. When you get here, you now type 3. No. As an advanced user of Excel, you should know the logic, the technique. Just type the first one as a way of giving a Excel example that this is where you start from. Now, click on that first one. You will see this dotted edge. Once you place that insertion pointer, the big plus on it, it will switch to small plus. To click and drag. For now, I want to stop here. It will give me what? To repeat that same one. Click on the icon beside it, not after you have clicked out. Click here and then select what? Fit series. You see that what? Excel automatically what? Generates the sequence of those numbers. Now, but the challenge we are having here now is this. The challenge is that these values, they are totally what? Not in alignment with the header. So this value need to align with this. So and that is going to happen here. So let me just settle it at once. Let's say the whole of this area that we intend to use, I want to align everything to the left. And that takes us to where we can access alignment. You see, once you open up your home tab, The whole of this place is alignment. We have horizontal alignment and vertical alignment. So you need this one. So if I click here now, look at it, it moves everything what? To the left-hand side. If I click here to the center, if I click here, so let's use this. And then, which means that you have also formatted this to that what? Left alignment. So I'm done with this. Let's assume that you thought that you are not going to exceed 10 customers. At the end of the day, you have additional customer. Does it mean that you start numbering again? No. Use the last one, which is that word. Use the last one, which is the 10. Drag it, just touch it, and then do the same thing. What I'm doing now is called autofilling. That is the professional term. Then it will duplicate the same thing. Click on the icon beside it, then select what? Fill series. Let me get a response if we are following. Response, sharp. Time is not on our side. I want to get to where we can go home with serious assignment.
Please,
Okay.
from 1 to 10, what did you press? Was it the same thing you pressed from 1 to 10 that you pressed from 10 to 13?
Yes.
Also.
So, yes. The same thing. Cool, good. So now, the next one is date. Date is a reserved word. So you have to be careful the way you use it, which means that what is already acknowledged in a cell. So you don't autofill date. If you autofill date, it's going to what? Duplicate it. So let me just enter date before I attend to the question somebody want to ask. So date, you are supposed to get this information from your invoice or your receipts. But here I'm just assuming. So let's say this. So I will just autofill. For date, if you have this 13 transactions same day, if you try autofilling it like this, it's going to increase. Or are we having the same thing? No. So what you do is that you copy it, just select this one, go to your home tab, then click on copy. This is copy or Control C. And then you will now go and highlight other empty space where you want to paste that same word. You go back to what? To the paste. That is if you want everything to be the same. So quickly, your question, Mrs. Tonia.
Okay, my question is at the heading, how did you remove the columns?
How I removed the column. We went to
the columns or the heading.
Yes, we went to view now, and then we click on. Is it not this place? Is that not what you are asking? I don't know if I'm getting your question. If you are clicking that, means I've removed them. Is this what you are asking?
No.
So which column did I remove that you are asking? Because I have my column here. Look at it here.
Go back. Yeah, I know. The heading where you write ZTech.
No,
the
they are still here now.
Yes. How did you remove the columns of the...
Okay, how did I silence the grid lines, right?
Yes, the lines.
You highlight them like this. Look at this. You highlight this. You highlight this. You highlight them, and then you go to this and click. You can see the way I've silenced it now. Did you understand it now? So let me undo.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so let's proceed. I also want to attend 2 by 10, but let me just see if I can. So now, CID is the customer what? ID. So the company will give you the information. So let's say what? CO10. Then the next one can be CO12. So I have given a cell a format. So which means that the next one was CO13, CO14. So you type the first two and highlight them, not autofilling, no, not like this. You highlight them, then you now autofill here. So you gave a cell an example to follow. So that has automatically what? Giving you the code in that sequence. All right, but the way I did it now, I don't think is giving me what I want. So let me just say I have course 01. I have course 01. Let me just say what? 01. Then the next one will be CO2. Okay, I think this is better. Then I will what? Autofill. Good, perfect. All right, so these are some of the things you can easily do with Excel. Now, the name of the persons, I will just assume name. You get all this from the receipt. Let's say this. Let's say okay. Then after this, I want Excel, though this will not happen when you are entering live sys, but just to save my time, I want to instruct Excel that use these three names, maintaining the same order, fill up the rest. So you do what I did the other time. I like three of them and then double click just to save my time. So gender, I can say this male and what? Female. And then use that same logic, highlight two of them, double click, and then it fills the rest with that same order. Country, let's say what? Nigeria, Ghana, Nigeria, let's say UK, US. So using the same logic, highlight three of them, autofill. It's just a minute. All right, so let me confirm if you can hear me, please. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir,
So-
we can hear you.
Okay, so now the states, I can do the same thing. Let's say what? Data. Let's say Edo, just to save our time, because this is not retransaction, but we're only trying to learn how to compute values. So now PID, we can have P01, I can have P02, and then use the same logic just to save our time. Then our product name, let's say laptop, let's say keyboard, let's say mouse. So let me use the same logic, highlight three of them and double click. Now quantity, this one, let's assume that the difference should be 10. So if I have 20 here, and then here I have 30, so I have given an example that what the difference should be 10. So I highlight two of them and then double click. It will also what give us that what increment. The rate, how much per one? Remember I said all these are supposed to be obtained from the invoice or receipts. So if you are working for a real company, do not go this way of assuming, please. So let's just assume that 600, and we want a difference of 100. So which means that I will just highlight this and then what? Double click. Now, this is where we are going to start calculation. So time is against us, but I'll just add 10 minutes because I want to do at least 2 calculations, and then I will conclude it in our next meeting. You just give me 1 minute. Okay, so now this is where the query formula construction comes in. So you write Excel query formula construction. Excel query formula construction. So I will just do for total and discount, and then I will stop. So before the next class, everybody must have generated their database down to this place. So the next class, I will just conclude this one, and then we will now look at few management system before we look at, just give me one. All right. So I said Excel query formula. Now the term query in database management system, the term query means to task or to request for a value or a result. So when we say we want to query Excel, let me illustrate it why here we have to query. All this one from total to balance has to be calculated value. All these ones, they are called direct entry. These are entry that does not require formula. All right. So once we get to that aspect where you want to start generating calculated value, then you have to work with what? Either inbuilt functions or query functions. So what is the query function for calculating total? You need to understand the communication. What is the communication? Yeah, Prosper, male, from Nigeria, from Delta, wants to buy a product with an ID, this, and the product name is laptop, and he says he wants to buy 20. And then you have told him that one is what? 600. Now, what he's asking is that, well, how much will the 20 cost him at the rate of what? 600. So once you understand that communication, that will inform you on how to generate your formula. So remember what I was telling us, you have to start with equals to. So you must understand the direct formula. So in your notes, you can write what? Direct formula. So direct formula, let me put it here. So direct formula is quantity times rates. Be writing this down because you will need them to do the assignment. That is the direct formula. So the query formula is the one you are using to calculate the value. And that one says you must start with equals to, then the argument of quantity, then insert your operator, which is what? If you check your direct formula, I say times. So you look for the symbol of time, which is shift 8. Then the argument of what? Rate. So that is the query formula to task Excel to provide us what? The total. So once you have done that, you press enter. Excel have done the calculation. If you multiply this by this is what you get. Now, ordinarily, you are supposed to come here and do that same thing. But because of Excel sensitivity, you don't need to do that. Just click on that one that you have generated and autofill what we have been doing since. So what you are actually replicating is the formula. And remember, oh, sorry, it's not your class. What we call dynamic argument and what? Absolute argument. Once this is dynamic argument because it does not carry $sign. Now, dynamic argument means that what? The formula can be dynamic. It can change. So if I drag it here, it will look for 30, multiply with 700, and give me the equivalent result. If I drop the formula here, it will look for 40, multiply by 800. So that is what it's going to do. But if you go and make it fit by adding $sign to this argument, then it means that what? It will be duplicating the same thing all through. So this is dynamic. So I will just double click here. It will calculate orders according to their corresponding quantity and what? Rate. Can I get the response if you understand it? Because I will just take this one and stop there.
Yes. I don't understand. Please, can you please come again, please?
Okay. Now, we are calculating total. We are calculating total. And I said you need to understand the communication. You want to multiply quantity times rate. But we are not concerned with the number. We are concerned with the cell holding them. So we started with equals to, and then I click here to what? To call the argument, telling a cell that the value to multiply with another value is at what? J what? 11. Then you now add your operator, which is times. And how do you add it? You hold down the shift button on your keyboard and press letter 8. That will give you the times. And then you select the next one, because the direct formula says quantity times rate. That is what we are trying to interpret. And then you press enter. So let me get a response from you. Did you understand it now?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Now, the next thing is that instead of us coming here and start doing something like this, and start clicking here, and then start inserting what? The times, and then coming here before we can get this. If the records are up to 1 million, by the time you go through that method, you are going to waste time. We are saying that Excel is sensitive enough to know that you calculated this with formula. So if you autofill by clicking on this dot, or you click and drag, you are telling Excel the formula that I have computed here, take it and paste it here. When it gets here, it will look for its own corresponding value argument. And that is what we are trying to do here. So you select the first one that you have calculated, and then you double click on that edge, and then it will give you the what? The rest calculation. Let me get the rest one. Is it clear to you now?
I understand now.
Okay, so now let's calculate this one and stop there, because I don't want to rush this other one. There are other explanations that are attached to them. Now, discount, you have already specified 20% discount. 20% discount. So which means you are saying that what? Out of this total, this customer, Prosper, that ought to pay, that is that should be 12,000. 12,000. And you say that you want to give the person 20% off of this. So you calculate it by equals to that percentage. You type it 2 and 0. Then to attach the percentage sign, you hold down shift and press letter 5. All right. Then you now hold down shift and press letter 8 to bring in the times. 20% off. The off means times. Then you tap this. And then you press enter. So 20% of this is this. Then you autofill also. So this is where we're going to stop. Just give me. All right. So if we don't have any question, so I think we have tried. We still, all these are still basic. At the same time, we have used all these to understand different logic, different techniques on how to impute and manage data. So in the next class, I'm going to complete this task, and then we'll look at some few calculations. For example, how do we add all the values here, get the total? How do we subtract?
Once we are done with that, then we will just go straight to the data analytics aspect. So we'll be able to, the remaining parts of this basic will not exceed 30 minutes. So by the grace of God, on Friday, we just take that 30 minutes to complete this and the few things that are remaining, and then we will now officially start the data analytics. So please, if you have friends, you have anybody around you that you feel that should be here, they can still join. The video will be made available to them. Like I said, all these ones, they are just what you need to have known before going into data analytics. So we are just trying to help all of us so that the analysis aspect will be easier for us. So which means someone can still join on Friday to continue with us. The only thing we'll do is to give the person this video to go and master on his or her own before going ahead with us. Any question, please? Any question? We are totally out of time. Any question? Any question? Hope we are good with
Yes,
what.
Prosper, I have a question, please.
Okay.
So, the beginning, I think you were to tell us how we're going to be able to specify a question that is asking row Excel. You did that for us in columns, but you were trying to say that before you got disconnected.
Okay, sorry again. Sorry. I didn't get
Yeah,
part of.
you said that an interview question may pop up where they're trying to ask us the total number of rows in Excel. You're trying to give us an example of interview questions that might be asking us total number of rows.
Yes. The total numbers of rows, I said we have 1 million. I think I mentioned it. 1,048,576. I hope it's taken now.
Yes, sir. You said sometimes they will ask us a question that indirectly is asking us for that figure. How are we going to,
Okay. Yes. The question they could ask you is that how many records can a single sheet track? Or what is the capacity of record a single sheet can absorb? So that kind of question is geared towards you replying the total number of rows. I hope that is clear.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. So if there's no other question, we stop here. Thank you for joining. So the video will be available before the end of tomorrow. Then stay on it, watch it. Your assignment is that everybody will start by showing me their work. Perhaps you have finished it before that Friday. Just do a video of it or take a picture of it, send it to the group, please. Okay. So good night, everyone. See you
Good night, sir. Thank you,
on
sir.
Friday. Yeah.
Good night.
Good night. Good night.